Hello, this is going to be a really quick tutorial on how to reassemble a partially disassembled 4x4. So this is for when you have at least 3/4 of the cube kind of still put together and all of these inner pieces are still on the puzzle. So usually what would happen is a piece would pop out, a couple of these small internals will pop out, and then the rest of the cube kind of follows, but as long as you weren't being too rough with it, it should have stayed somewhat relatively put together. So first, before we even begin reassembly, we're going to want to kind of bind up the rest of the pieces so they don't fall out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of tape, and we're just going to go ahead and tape like these top 8 pieces so the yellow pieces don't fall down. And we're going to tape up some of these blue pieces up in front as well so they don't move upwards. But it's important that we're still able to kind of turn some of the layers later on, and I'll explain why in a little bit. So to start off, we're going to go ahead and fill in this next row of pieces over here. And it should make sense which pieces kind of go where. But first, we're going to start off with the center piece, which kind of looks like this on the orange side. We're going to put it in like that. We're going to go ahead and repeat that on the other side with this red center piece. And we're going to put in the two edges here, in this case, the blue-orange and then the blue-red edges. So we have our blue-orange right here. We're going to go ahead and put it in like that. And we're going to have our blue-red right here. And we're going to put it in like that. We're going to fill in these two gaps with two blue center pieces, here and here. And then we're going to fill in this small gap that the blue center piece is made with one of these small internal pieces. Now this would go down in this direction. So it's shaped like a little T or Y. And we're just going to go ahead and put that down like that. Next up, we're going to go ahead and install the larger of the two internal pieces, which kind of looks like this. It will vary per cube, but most 4x4s will have a piece shaped like that. And we're going to have our other small internal piece right here. So the reason we didn't bind up the entire puzzle is because we're going to go ahead and install these two simultaneously into the puzzle. And in order to do that, we're going to actually have to turn the top layer at a slight angle. And what this does is allows for a little bit more play and makes the pieces easier to slide into the puzzle. We're going to take our large internal piece and our small internal piece. We're going to go ahead and put our small internal piece on top of the large internal piece like this. And if you want, you can actually go ahead and take a little bit of tape just to make things a little bit easier for you. And you can tape these guys together just so they don't kind of fall apart during the installation of these. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to go ahead and install both of these at the same time, coming in at an angle like that. So we're going to put this small internal piece underneath this little ridge right here. We're going to go ahead and do that like that. And we're just going to go ahead and carefully push that in. Now, I advise using both hands for this to kind of keep everything stable. And we're slowly going to go ahead and just push that in. So you see, by putting in an angle, we allow for a little bit more play. So you'll see other pieces kind of move. Don't panic. Just do this nice and slow. Like that. And then we can take off the tape before we go ahead and put additional pieces into the puzzle. So we're going to go ahead and turn this back like that. And we're going to put in the rest of the pieces now. We're going to start off with the two edges that go here and here. So the yellow-orange in this case. And we're just going to go ahead and put it through these little gaps. And we don't want to move anything, so just kind of press it down so they don't move and get removed. Taken out of the cube. Yellow-red. We're going to put in the two corners. Again, there should be still some gaps. Perfectly fine. We're just going to go ahead and work with the gaps that we have. Alright. So we don't want to put too much force or we're going to break the corner. What we want to do is use the flexibility of the cube when it's like partially assembled to just maneuver the pieces in. So that's what we're doing here. So we're just going to do that. Again, not too much force, we're just letting it slide in like that. Next, we're going to put in our two center pieces on yellow. So in order to do that, just going to go ahead and approach it at an angle. Again, through the small gaps that we still have available. Alright, I'm just going to do that to make a little bit more space there. Here. There we go. And then last, we have these two. I'm going to turn this at a slight angle to allow for a little bit more play. We have the yellow, blue on the left side, yellow, blue on the right side. And what I'm doing here is because these pieces are hooked like this, we're just not pushing it in. We are kind of trying to hook it around that white piece right here. So we're trying to just, at an angle kind of like this, push it in, and then just trying to hook it underneath, like that. And that's how you would reassemble it. In order to prevent pops in the future, something that you can do is tighten these little screws in the center, so you can see that. So this cube is relatively loose, so what you can do is do a couple of turns on all of the sides just to make it a little bit tighter. But do find a balance that works for your turning style that works for the flexibility that you want while maintaining the stability that you want. And then just remove the rest of the tape that we used. And that's how you would assemble a 4x4 that's been partially disassembled. Hope that helps.